one quick sip of coffee. I'm doing my best to blow the lid off of reality this week. Wish me luck. Okay, in this large topic this week, we're looking to really wake ourselves up as much as possible. Now, isn't one of the things we most love about science, and we love our science, there's no doubt about that, is that science has helped us to overcome so much of humankind's superstition and delusion. In other words, when we see our friend's house be struck by lightning, it wasn't thrown by an angry God. And when there's an earthquake, it wasn't giant turtles mating way underneath the surface of the earth. We've overcome those delusions and those superstitions, and thank goodness for that. And the Black Plague is not caused by evil spirits, it was caused by rats. So we learned hygiene. And so, God bless science for everything that it's done to improve the quality of our lives. I've got this iPhone, and I clearly could not live without that. So we love our science, we love our technology. And with all that being said, where science has gone, and I discussed it yesterday, is the beginning of the breakdown of the reality of whatever space and time is. And this is unsettling and has been for over 100 years, terribly unsettling to scientists who tend by nature to be materialistic in their outlook. In other words, everything can be continuously broken down to its material constituent. Reality itself, this thing that we call our consciousness, is simply the function and the interaction of the electrical chemical nature of our brains. And so science keeps trying to break that down. And yet, as discussed yesterday, the latest physics and science simply declares in no uncertain terms that space and time itself is breaking down. There's no there. There's nothing underneath that. And so here's a powerful delusion for us. Think of this delusion. Space and time is real, and that we're small little organic bits, and each and every one of us had a born on date, and we will have an expiration date. And while we're here living in space and time in these mortal spacesuits, we'll undergo a certain number of experiences, mostly determined by forces larger than ourselves, outside of ourselves. And then in due time, in due space, our organic creatures will croak, and then that will be the end of us. Well, that's essentially what every modern scientist says. That's what neuroanatomy says. When the brain dies and the brain produces consciousness, then the game is over. Now, what I'm saying today is that pinnacle of scientific realization that I just mentioned is the greatest delusion of all. And isn't it ironic that beloved science, in its capacity to clear up so much delusion and superstition that has led to modern living, has as its fundamental core the deepest delusion of all? And this is the delusion that the great yogis talk about in antiquity, and that is simply that the greatest delusion is to think and to forget who we are, to think we're simply mortal creatures, when in fact we're eternal spiritual beings enjoying the play of time and space together. So in yoga, the greatest of all evils is called avidya. It's the evil or the affliction from which all of our following sufferings come. And avidya means to forget who we are. And enlightenment, illumination, salvation is called vidya. It means to remember who we are. So all this week, as we push the boundaries, and as I tell a story, the story is designed to wake us up out of the delusion. You might say, well, what do I do with that information? All you have to do is hear it and get it down to your bones and remember it, that we're eternal spiritual beings. We're not miserable miscreants of a random nature born and living in space time for a short period of time without any real significance. You are the significance of the universe, your very consciousness. So remember that, practice it, play around with it in your mind as you look out at the container of space-time that you live in. Just remember all that is inside of your head. Amen. We'll see you tomorrow.